Washington. In pitching the $1.5 trillion tax overhaul, Stephen Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, has said repeatedly that the plan will pay for itself through a surge of economic growth and that over 100 people in Treasury are working around the clock on running scenarios for us. Mr. Mnuchin has promised that Treasury will release its analysis in full. Yet, just one day before the full Senate prepares to vote on a sweeping tax rewrite, the administration has yet to produce the type of economic analysis that it is citing as a reason to pass the tax cut. Those inside Treasury's Office of Tax Policy, which Mr. Mnuchin has credited with running the models, say they have been largely shut out of the process and are not working on the type of detailed analysis that he has mentioned. An economist at the Office of Tax Analysis, who spoke on the condition of anonymity so as not to jeopardize his job, said Treasury had not released a dynamic analysis showing that the tax plan would be paid for with economic growth because one did not exist. Instead of conducting full analyses of tax proposals, staff members have been running numbers on individual provisions or policy ideas, like lowering the tax rate on so-called pass-through businesses and figuring out how many family farms would benefit from the repeal of the estate tax. Activity has picked up more recently as Treasury has sought to provide technical assistance to the Joint Committee on Taxation and the Congressional Budget Office for their estimates. A Treasury official said that there was not sufficient time to produce a full analysis with growth and revenue estimates of the final bill, which the Senate Finance Committee passed before Thanksgiving. The official pointed to a letter sent this week to Mr. Mnuchin by 9 top conservative economists detailing how the Republican tax bills could bolster economic growth, saying that reflected the findings of its own economic models. The lack of any formal assessment of the bill's economic effect from the administration comes as Republicans barrel ahead with a plan that is expected to add $1.5 trillion to the deficit at a time when the federal debt has already topped $20 trillion. Deficit hawks, including lawmakers like Senators Bob Corker of Tennessee and Jeff Flake of Arizona, have been asking for analyses that show how the plan will avoid ballooning the deficit, which reached $666 billion, or 3.5% of gross domestic product, for fiscal 2017. The Trump administration could come under renewed pressure this week to justify its claims about the economic growth and revenue that it says the Republican tax plans will create. The Joint Committee on Taxation is rushing to finish its own analysis of the Senate bill before a vote, and many analysts expect that the results will fail to match the optimistic assumptions being made by lawmakers. Mr. Mnuchin, in an interview in October, said that he was prepared to rebut such differences. There is certain things we'll agree with joint tax, there's certain things we won't necessarily agree with joint tax, and we'll explain the differences, Mr. Mnuchin said.